Welcome. My name is Tamara with Tamara's Designs, and today, the 28th, I have the prompt, Curious Objects. But before I get started, I wanted to give a big thank you to Mandy with Sunflowers and Doors and Julie of Julie Papercrafts for this opportunity to be in this collaboration. Now, curious object, that's the prompt. And did it ever stump me? So, my take may be not exactly what everyone would necessarily think of as a curious object. So let me begin by showing you what I did to start this. I printed the images at 175% on legal size paper because I needed something bigger to play with for this project. Because if this works out the way I have it in my head, they'll be really cool. And for those of you who don't know me, I just recently had 2 eye strokes, so vision has definitely been an issue trying to see things and to manipulate paper the way I like. So I've had to kind of retake some things and learn new. So thus the bigger prints, just so that way we can all see what I'm doing. And then, because US paper does not come in legal size as far as cardstock, so I've glued them onto the cardstock, and I need to fussy trim these out, and then I will be right back with you. Now that I have the pieces cut out, I am ready to put this together or start working on my theories. And as I'm working on this, there are like 3 different kits available that you can use or that they have been using. And I do not remember which one I'm using now. So as you can see, I did leave the leaves still on their backing. I will fussy trim those before I put it into whatever journal creation I'm making. But for right now, I need to back my cardstock for this one. And where'd that paper go? As I was looking for my paper, I realized that I need to actually glue this piece onto the cardstock. And I am just literally going to glue around the edges. Because what I'm hopefully going to make is a hidden writing spot. Now, I'm not sure what curious objects mean, so my take on it is maybe something that you curiously are interested in exploring more. Some people would think of it as curiosity objects, something you'd find in an old antique store or something like that. But my idea is simply something that is that intrigues you, that you want to explore more. So that's my take on a curious object. And now I will set this aside and let that dry, because that needs to be dry before I do anything else with it. And we will look at this bench. I love this bench. And my idea for it is also to create a little hidden journaling spot. So I'm going to put a self-healing mat underneath of it. And we'll see how well I can do this on camera. So I'm just going to trace, or actually trim with my hobby tool, to the outline of this pillow. which thankfully I can see the contrast between the pillow and the bench. That was part of my dilemma and my nerves about trying to figure out what I was doing, what can I see to do. Well, now I'm going to turn my mat and try not to lose my packing paper underneath. The packing paper also allows me to see the contrast between the items. So this may not be a perfect trim, but this also shows that even though it's not perfect, that it still will be cool. I'm going to turn my mat again because I'd prefer not to be taking a sharp object straight back at me. So I don't know what others think of my curious objects where it really truly baffled me, this prompt. So I hopefully just trimmed that on 3 sides. And I didn't get through there in that corner very well. And it looks like I may have to do a little more gluing. This utility tool. Some days has a mind of its own. So let's see. Where am I hung up at? And I can tell that's not a great trim, but it's something that can be fixed. Let me put the cap on that. I'm just going to grab my scissors, grab the right pair, and clean that up. And I'm just going to get this in. Yep, I missed on the gluing. A gentle crease. Now I'm going to use my Barely Arch just because it's just what I use. It's the glue I like to use for about everything. And I can see that I have a little problem there. Okay. So now that I have this beautiful pillow, whoops, still not glued enough. Unfortunately, seeing where the glue is at on the project can be difficult because it's white on white. And you can see that's white right there. I'm going to take a little vintage photo, Distress Oxide, and try to go around those edges there. So that way when it's open, you don't notice that something is amiss, that something's missing. Wow, I did not do a good job of gluing. And I'm going to just fold this back. My idea for this piece is to put a piece of paper on the back side and do I want it hinged or no? It would be cool if it was hinged. Too bad I hadn't thought about this to begin with, and then I could have trimmed it all out at one time. So what I'm going to do is glue it on the back side and then glue it to the paper. And hopefully this works. Now this is a folded up page from, I'm not even sure what it was that I took apart anymore. Now this I will have to let dry, and then I will trim it to fit the size of that pillow. And this is ready to be trimmed, because I need to trim this out. And before I can do that, let's go ahead. I printed this page on legal size also for the backing of these suitcases. And to save myself from some trimming, I'm just going to glue it onto the back. But there's no sense in gluing everything. So I'm kind of lining it up with the image on the back side of the paper. Yes, this piece I can completely glue down. So I have been junk journaling for a few years now, and it has been so much fun, but I definitely got curious objects. Well, let's see if I pull this off. I normally go live on my Facebook page, Tamara's Designs, and I've been also going live with a friend on Thursdays, which today is a Thursday, which means I will actually be live later today. To know more details, you can find my information on my Facebook page. But this is all about the beautiful images that Mandy and Julie have created. So there I have that backed. I'm going to go ahead and smooth that glue out. Make sure that it's good and glued. There's nothing worse than doing your trimming and everything starts unraveling. So I will be back, and I trim this out, and I need to trim this, and then I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me struggle to trim these out. So there is a writing page attached to the inside of her pillow, and then this page you could glue down onto your background. So we'll just pretend that this would be my background. And that's why I didn't trim these out, because I won't trim these off until I'm ready to put this wherever it's going. So you could actually glue this piece of paper down to your page, or you could just leave it as a double side, and then you'd have this little spot here. And if you wanted, so that way you could also, another idea would be to put something proper size to hide back there, and then you'd actually have, I got stuck. I'm so sorry, I'm off screen. My bad. So just imagine this is back behind whatever page you're putting it on. Then you'd have a writing spot here, here, and right here. Now to make this pillow stay down, this is something I love to do. I enjoy making interactive items. So I see the curious object as an interactive piece. So I want to put what I call a hold me downer, just to keep that envelope, or pillow I mean, from coming open when I don't want it to be open. And for that, the hold me downer actually is called a photo turn, but I did not know that when I first started junk journaling, and when I got them, I had to give them a name one day, and hold me downer was what I came up with. Now, ooh, that is too close to the edge. I need to move that in a little more. Where's my awl? There. Because I don't want it that close. I didn't want it that close to the edge, because then it would probably rip. And because I'm using a brad, I will tape it down on the inside, just so that whatever this goes on or into, it will not catch. And there we have a cool, curious object, because you're going to be curious to know, well, what does this do? And you open it, voila, and then this will keep it closed. So there's one idea. And the other idea, this is going to take a little longer, is I want to separate this suitcase from these. And this is why I only glued around the edges when I attached it to the backing. So I'm going to trim right along this suitcase. And with any luck, this will work. Yep, and there's a little pocket there, and then this little piece will hold the writing spot. And if you happen to look at the back side, so now I want to use this index card. It's just an index card that I've stamped. Actually, I created this on last Thursday, on our Thursdays with Friends, and we actually were on Shauna's page, Fraps and Scraps, and we've been doing in the month of August something we called Some Ephemera, in anticipation for what is coming in December. Okay, so I need to figure out how far up. I need to actually trim this down. And today will be our last day in August, and then next month we will start something new. How do I want to do this? Good question, Tamara. Nope, because it's not mirrored. So let's trace the edge. And then I need to trim that a little bit on the inside of those lines I drew. Maybe on the inside of those lines. I need this to fit in here. Not enough. Let's see. And I will need this to fit into the bottom also, so. A little bit more. So I'm going to get this to fit in here, and then I'll be right back. I finally got it so that it will slide into the top, and then we'll have to glue it in to place. Man, I did have this working. Of course, I turned the camera back on in it so I could have it with this facing the front or with this facing the front. I'm kind of going with this is in here now, so I'm just going to go with it. Actually, I need to ink that edge before I do anything, because once that paper's in there, then I will not be able to ink this. So I'm just going to get the glue. This may not be a good idea to put the glue on the inside of my suitcase, but might be easier than trying to get the glue on my paper. And now I'll glue on the top of the paper. And then this, in theory, will slide into the bottom suitcases. In theory. So I need to mark where that is, because I need it to be shorter, but I don't know where that shorter is. So this should be probably short enough, because I did have to glue those. And I know, I'm sure I will have to trim the sides down so it will fit. Okay. That went in there crooked. Oh, well, everything is always a little wonky with me. And so I'll just, a little more to go. Just a matter of trimming until you get it to this width you need to slide easily into the bottom suitcases. And there you have it. A hidden writing spot. And the back is beautiful, so you could actually leave it like as a floating in a pocket or something, floating on a page. So many different ideas that you can do with this. Now granted, I do need ink around all the edges. And there you have it. 2 curious objects that when put onto a journal page, you're going to want to know what is going on. Oops. And because this slides into the bottom, there's no need for anything to hold it together or hold it down. It will just slide in here. There you have it. This curious object, and here's my other curious object. I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you, Mandy and Julie, for allowing me to take part in this collaboration. And I hope to see everybody the next time. Bye.